All right, welcome one and all San Jose Sharks fans, hockey fans, whatever it is you might love about this sport. Welcome to Scouching's video room. Today, we are going to be taking a look at Sudbury Wolves left winger Quentin Musty, most recently a first-round selection of the San Jose Sharks. He's been on an absolute rip this year. He's a player that was in my top 15 the year he was a draft eligible. He is a heck of a player, and I'm really excited to see what he does in this game. If you're not familiar, what we do is we just take a one-game cross-sectional look at a player, what they bring to the game, maybe some areas of potential improvement, see if there are any patterns we can recognize, and just generally take a good cross-section of what a player does in a hockey game and might be able to bring to the NHL one day. So without further ado and without further delay, let's get into Quentin Musty. So this is the first defensive zone exit of the game, and this is just a little thing that I noticed that I want to see if it happens for the rest of the game. But Musty is this guy here, and on the breakout, you'll see he positions himself really well to receive a breakout pass here, right? So he's got three Erie Otter guys over here. You got that defenseman who's just not in a position to counter Musty on the defensive zone exit. And Musty here, his options are pretty limited, right? So you have two teammates here who are all under pressure. You don't have much in the way of defensive support right there because you have this passing lane maybe under threat. But what you'll see is this player kind of cutting through here. So Musty will just sort of carry it, but then just throw the puck away into pressure here. If I'm dealing with a guy like Quentin Musty and I'm in the video room, I would definitely think that him drifting this way is going to drag these guys this way, right? He's dragging pressure. So if he can do that, what does that do, right? It opens up this area on an offensive entry potentially. And I think this player here is trying to do that, right? Recognizing this open space and doing the right thing and going here. So if I am coaching Musty or something in this situation, and I'm just might be nitpicking on the first breakout here, but this is something that I think is super important in the NHL and such. You don't want to be throwing the puck away to nobody here, especially when you've got three guys potentially in the way of completing this pass. A guy like Musty, first round NHL draft pick, I would love to see him be really skilled and creative here and just pull the puck back. Stop up, pull yourself back, create a little bit of space, drag this guy a little further out this way, work in this space a little bit, and then either put it off the boards and hit this guy in stride or just wrap it around. Find a way to put the puck here, right? Because this is just a play that can come back the other way, right? You've got this guy here who can curl back, this defenseman already ready to sort of be in motion here if this guy doesn't cut him off here. It just causes potential issues for Sudbury. Luckily, nothing comes of it from Erie. But in that situation, it's a little thing, but that could have been the difference between what's happening here and a potentially controlled offensive entry. So we'll see if it happens in the rest of the game. But when I see stuff like that, and I kind of wonder, like, is there a way that this turnover could have been avoided? And in that case, I think there could have been. Super simple, but super important, right? Quentin Musty is really big. He's this guy here, and he doesn't factor into this play tremendously, but you just want to see stuff like this out of your big guys. He scores a lot of points, and guys score a lot of points by doing this, right? You just sneak your way past a defenseman there, a couple of defensemen. Now you have some open space to play with. He very nearly comes away with a pretty good scoring chance if the goaltender didn't sweep that away. So just a quick thing to note, but always good to see. And then there he is on the offensive exit. So his ability to just sort of monitor this play and hit this guy on the exit there, I mean, it's controlled, but he finished his check. Guys are going to want to see that. He's this sort of power winger with some skill, and he's playing the way you want him to play. So this is just a little play that could make a pretty big difference at higher levels or at any level of hockey, to be honest. So Musty just gets behind the net here. There's two guys on him now. Actually, three are below the goal line with him, but he has an empty player in support here. So obviously, it's very important to have forwards on your line that are aware of when a player might need support under pressure. So it's an easy option for them to get the puck to them. So Musty very quickly will try to spin and get this pass off and get the pass to Molnar there in the corner, but it just doesn't get there. It's just something you like to see, just a quick thinking idea below the goal line, not eating the puck along the boards, and you have support, and just trying to make a play there. It didn't work out that time, but another thing to maybe keep in mind for the rest of the game. So this is a wild goal here from Quentin Musty. I don't even really know what to say about it. It's a play that I think illustrates how he can stick with the play and sort of find a way to make something happen. So you'll see he just goes to the net. He loses possession of the puck a little bit. And somehow you need to see stuff like this out of your skilled guys, right? Like this is a shot you probably want to take. Maybe he could try threading a pass back door here or just tapping it over to this guy, but I don't think it's going to make that much of a difference. You're going to try to pick a corner here. He loses the handle on the puck trying to get around the goalie, but then just wraps wraps the puck around and puts it off a goaltender or off the defender there. Yeah, he loses the handle a little bit, but that ability to just quickly follow up and throw the puck back out in front, crossing your hands over like that, that's kind of a really high-end thing that playmakers should be able to do at any level. And so that, to me, sticks out as a positive so far in this game. So this is a smart play from Musty, right? So he's this guy here on the left wing, pretty far from the right side of the ice. The puck is here below the goal line. It's going to wrap around here. And what is going to happen is he covers the entire ice sheet pretty efficiently, just only in a couple of strides, challenges 11 here along the boards and causes a turnover and gains possession of the puck. That's just, again, a really smart play. It puts the puck offside, but with some better puck support there, you know, this is the right idea. If Molnar were a stride or two more in this direction, you have an entire runway of space here. So there's lots to like about what Musty did on that. So just watch how quickly he comes across the ice there, challenges that player in the offensive zone, causes a turnover, and how quickly he puts it out in front into scoring areas. Like, that could have been a very dangerous chance right there, made out of pressure application in the offensive zone from your offside, which you recognize that play and you can make it happen, then that's super helpful. And that quick thinking offensively, yeah, count me in. Coming up here is a pretty soft play for Musty. So just to keep an eye on him, he's this guy here. He's just going to put the puck out. I mean, he's putting it into scoring areas, and this is why when I track my data, I say that just because someone throws a puck into scoring areas, it doesn't automatically mean that it's a great play or whatever. It's a good data point, but it's not a great play all the time, right? So he has the puck along the half wall here. He gains possession. He has support behind him, right? So obviously this is ideally where you want to put the puck. It's where higher percentage scoring chances come from, but he has support behind him. And what he does is just waits a little too long and just throws it out into the middle, trying to hit this guy in stride here. But I mean, this is just too easy of a pickoff for this guy. And with this guy going this way, you know, Musty might have to turn around and challenge immediately because this guy could be off that way. So not a great decision there from Musty, especially with a guy behind him under very little pressure that could have extended the cycle. So yeah, right here, he could have kicked that puck back to Molnar in the corner here, and maybe Molnar has an opportunity here to put the puck in net himself, or maybe Musty kind of swings around and maybe there's something that could happen there, but now instead it's a turnover and Erie is coming the other way and Musty's now on the back check. So one little pass, obviously the idea behind it, I could see the logic behind it, but it was just made too easy, I think, for Erie to counter that one. Really good little things here from Musty, just barreling up the ice in a straight line with pretty good speed, protects the puck really well and just gets the puck to number 9 here, and that's going to be a great scoring chance. So Musty just gets the puck here along the boards and he's off to the races, but does a really good job too, using his body and speed to sort of keep this guy off of potentially turning the puck over on this entry here. And then doesn't play the hero. He has double coverage here, so just get it out to number 9. Number 9 has an easy pass here to go across the offensive zone. Musty just goes right to the net and buries one. So there it is. Just a really brilliantly executed little rush there, and nobody, you know, this is bad, right? Like you do not want this with a guy like Musty who is fast and big and got some skill. Not ideal. And so this one was pretty easy for him to just put in the net, and yeah, textbook tic-tac-toe quarterbacked by Musty really well there. So this is immediately after that goal, and Musty on this defensive entry here, he's got number 90 on Erie as his man, and he kind of has trouble keeping up with him and just ends up a step behind and does a pretty good stick lift and does prevent possession, but doesn't gain possession of the puck off of it. Is a little late to get to number 11 there, and now Erie had a really good scoring chance there. I'm not putting all the blame on the feet of Quentin Musty there, but again, it's the importance to me of how important it is to be speedy and aggressive on your defensive zone coverages, just to avoid these little bounces not going your way in the first place. But not the end of the world. This is good defensive coverage off the puck here on this entry, so Musty's just going to tie up this guy going to the net. The biggest thing, in my opinion, in these situations is get the stick off the ice. If you can't establish body positioning on a guy and really box him out from scoring areas, just lift the stick. Find a way to do it. And I mean, this is a benefit of players who are a little bit on the bigger side. You have that reach, and this is a really good application of that. So just good defensive coverage, preventing that sort of dangerous opportunity from coming the other way. And you never know what could have happened if he was a little bit softer there, but putting in that extra little bit to tie up a stick is a really good play. So this is it 4-on-4, but it's a great example of the first play that we went over and what I think Musty is more capable of and want to see more of, right? So He'll get the puck on this defensive exit. He has the puck here. He's heading this way. You've got all of this here, right? It's 4-on-4, so you have tons of empty space here, but you just watch him quickly pull back. That's what I want to see, right? Now he has a really good view of this angle, right? This is what I mean when I talk about players and I go, they're really good at changing angles and creating passing lanes and just giving themselves options. He could have dumped this in. He could have just done the traditional thing, dump, and hope that these guys can follow up and gain a offensive zone possession. But to do stuff like this to me is more modern, it's more creative, and I think it's easier if you can pull off this move to give yourself more options and make play go in the right direction. He just takes it himself. He just takes the rock into the offensive zone himself anyway and basically just does everything himself. But the point is that cutback. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that stuff like that I think really help create options for you and your teammates and all that stuff. So smart play, obviously at 4-on-4 it's a little easier because you have more space, but I want to see that from guys, because the more you see that, the better it's going to be to move the puck up the ice, and the more you can move the puck up the ice, the better off. Again, no nonsense playmaking here from Musty, right? So you've got Nathan Villeneuve here coming to the middle of the ice. You got a clear lane here. You have tons of space. You've got time. You've got a man advantage. And he manages to get the puck out to Villeneuve, who puts it wide. But Musty is a guy who, in my experience with data tracking and seeing him over the years, he generates offense in so many different ways, in very good ways, that's very diverse. And so for him, it's seeing stuff like that. It's that no nonsense hockey, right? Just you have the puck, you see an option, use it, right? Don't try to do too much. And I've seen that in this game. He hasn't tried to do too much. It's just very efficient and effective, generally more often than not. And well, just got scored on. So yeah, and I mean, watching that back again, I think you could probably want him to close this gap a little bit better. He's completely upright and kind of floating back. I don't think he takes a single stride. Yeah, he takes 0 strides on that to close that gap, right? And that's kind of frustrating to me, right? You created an offensive zone turnover. You created an offensive scoring chance. And on the back check here, like, this is no good, right? Like, this is just something awful waiting to happen. This gap here with 84, especially if you're not going to use your body in any way, shape, or form to close that gap. So questionable defense there, and they were actually talking about it in the commentary that's something that Musty has said that he wants to work on this year. So if I'm a video coach, I'm going, earlier in the game, you close that gap and you put in that extra little bit defensively, and you've caused a couple of turnovers, and this time you didn't, and we got scored on. Like, that's sometimes what makes the difference between winning and losing a game. That one shift where it's like, oh, I just didn't move my feet and I didn't close that gap quickly enough and we got scored on, and now we're losing 4-3, right? So tough situation on the defensive entry here. I mean, he's just not moving his feet. Like, he's standing completely still and he gets away with that one there. But to me, in the NHL, I don't know what coach is going to see this route for Martin Misiak here, and he does the right thing. Misiak, he cuts to the net, he goes clean around Musty there, right? Like, if Misiak doesn't skate into Musty's stick here on a skill move, he gets right to the net, no problem there. And to me, like, I'll play it again the whole way through. I don't know, like, yeah, maybe there's some sort of defensive coverage scheme there that they're running that alleviates Musty from moving his feet there, but I don't know. Bit questionable in the very least to me. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't know what's going on with Sudbury's defensive coverages here. And also, like, Quentin Musty's a big guy. And to me, on this entry here, look at number 11 on Erie. His momentum is carrying him this way. Musty is floating back this way. If you ask me, right, like, these defensemen shouldn't be pinching up too much here. Like, that's his man, obviously. And this guy, I don't think here should be closing that gap and opening a hole for this player to exploit, right? So I don't know. I would like Musty to at least create some sort of interaction in that lane, but he doesn't. 11 just kind of floats and just fills a massive space that Musty just opened up for him, right? In the NHL, there are players who, when number 11 or players like him cut across the top of the offensive zone like this, get absolutely destroyed. And Musty's a big guy. Maybe I just see things differently from maybe how Sudbury does, but there's a lot of cases in this game where defensive coverages are an issue, and there's another scoring chance from Erie here. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on here, but I usually don't pick apart things like this unless it's a pattern. And in this game, especially as the game's kind of worn on, there's been a few instances where I'm going, yeah, like, not moving your feet. And again, there's another one, right? He kind of stops moving his feet. doesn't attack with very much energy at all, right? Like, you're not very far from this guy. This gap isn't very big. You just allow this player to get around, and now you have this. Maybe I'm too nitpicky, maybe. And if you think so, please feel free to let me know in the comments. But if I saw a player like that on a defensive entry for the 4th time this game / period, and I'm a coach, I'm kind of wondering, like, you know, what are you bringing defensively? Because you're not factoring in, right? Like, if a player is just not factoring in defensively, and there's some reason for it, then maybe okay. And then he's right back into the offensive zone and creating a chance like that. Like, this is a crazy game. I don't know. So far in this series, this might be one of the wilder, polar opposite games where it's like sometimes it's awesome and sometimes I don't know. So Musty cuts in here. He's so skilled, right? Like, this is what he does best, is he finds a way to take this and make a scoring chance out of it and find Villeneuve, who's streaking in as the trailing guy here. Like, now he's got options. Musty has a scoring option here. He can try to thread the puck through here. He's got this. Like, he's created this out of nothing just a few seconds prior. So he turned this into this. And so that's great. And he does the creative thing here and very nearly sets up Nathan Villeneuve for a really beautiful playmaker moment. If he had gotten his stick on this, you know, you've got the entire cage to shoot at, right? So this could have very easily been a goal. And I believe Musty's 3rd or 4th point of the game. All the questionable stuff that I think is there from before this play, you know, do you excuse it because on the other side of the puck coming the other way, he does stuff like that? I think it depends on who you ask. But if you ask me, that kind of thing doesn't happen very often in the NHL unless you do the things that were an issue on that shift in the first place, right? Like, the less you do those kinds of things, the less often you're going to have to play offensively. Quentin Musty in the offensive zone this game has been very good in general, right? So he is the left winger. So he's this guy on this offensive zone play. He's going to go right to where he needs to be in this situation. The puck is below the goal line. He's in a great supporting position here, right? So you've got, again, like, I always think about drawing a line up the middle of the ice here, right? You've got lines on the ice that don't exist, right? You got these things that you can sort of gauge on where to be on the ice if you're playing. For him to be back here is great positioning because a bunch of Erie players are nowhere close to him, not even a threat, right? If you have a defenseman stepping up here or something, like, he is an easy option to maybe throw a pass out in front for a scoring chance. He gets the puck, quickly puts one on net from right and tight. Very easily could have been a goal there. And then he just gets the puck right back, throws it out in front, and there's Andre Molnar for a scoring chance. It's saved. Great save there. I don't know what's happening there. That's whack. In any case, strong support from Musty here on this play. Really, really smart. Good chance on net from in tight. Another chance out in front. Again, simple. Has that a little bit of creativity there to go, you know what? This is a chaotic situation. Find a way to put the puck out of chaos and put it out in front of the net. Everyone's kind of focused on that goal line situation. Maybe I can find a guy to put one in from a little bit of distance. And that was good, quick thinking there. So it's good stuff to see from him. So it's really helpful to me with big players when I'm looking out for big players on the ice that they're capable of doing the kinds of things with the puck that Musty is here. So really, really quickly, you'll see him just wrap the stick around his coverage and make a slot pass there. There was no one there to finish it off for him, but just that ability to use your reach to your advantage to, maybe not just backhand the puck on net from there and have a low percentage chance, but also to be able to throw the puck across the crease and use your reach like that, I think is a huge benefit and a huge advantage to have when it comes to generating offense at any level. This is a really good play here along the boards that I like. He's looking over his shoulder here. You can see him along the boards here. He's recognizing this player, and there's something that's going to happen here. So he, again, checks again and just makes a play. He's quickly lifting the stick of the guy that's going to pressure him along the boards. So he does it right there and then just throws a pass up the boards. It doesn't get handled very well, but that kind of quick thinking, right? There's a guy coming from behind me, and I have another man in support there, so I can just slap a stick out of the way, slap it up the ice, and hopefully something happens. It didn't there, but good situational awareness that could have moved the play into the neutral zone pretty well. And at the end of the day, the puck is in Erie's zone now. This is really smart stuff off of the face-off here. I imagine this is some sort of set play for Sudbury where they just send Musty into the neutral zone for a retrieval on what probably is going to be a dump out from this guy. And he just keeps his momentum going and challenges the Erie Otters defenseman here as quickly as he can, right? So this is when I say things like forces guys to make decisions, right? He's forcing this player to do something with the puck or else Musty's going to get him. So He forces a bit of a soft pass there. It's quickly turned over, but then watch Musty here, right? He's the left winger, right? So this is supposed to be his zone of influence. He's nowhere near there, and he doesn't just go right back to there, right? The puck is still on this side of the ice in here, right? And this guy is under pressure again from Nathan Villeneuve here, and he just is going to send the puck back here, and who's there waiting for it, right? Musty makes the read that, with Villeneuve pressuring him there, he's going to be a prime target to turn the puck over to, and that's exactly what happens, and that's a really, really nice pass. So playing it all the way through again, just backing it up, here's Musty on the exit, keeps the momentum going, challenges the defenseman there, and then just stays in the same spot because the puck's coming back to him, which it does, and then a quick little turn with a behind-the-back pass into open space, and they find something out of it. So another really good sequence there from Musty when plays going in the offensive direction, that there were elements to that I think are pretty high end. This is a fun little pass that I just wanted to highlight here from Musty that I think, again, just showcases the finesse in his game and the little bits of offensive output that I think are just really creative and fun to see, right? So he just gets the puck here and whoop, just in skating stride, no fancy skill business. He just has a guy behind him and backhands the puck through a guy's legs and creates a scoring chance out of it. Sometimes you don't need to be the fanciest guy in the world. If you know how to read the ice and know where your teammates are, the littlest things can make a big impact. This is a really good pass here from Musty, right? So he's going to get the puck here from Donovan McCoy along the boards here. So this is going to come to his stick there. And just watch this pass, right? So he's here, and this is the gap he's exploiting, right? It's not very big, but it's there. And it's pretty open. And he just fires a pass straight through the entire offensive zone to Nathan Villeneuve that isn't received very well. So just a quick thinking little moment of just a split second of patience. That passing lane opens, and it's a really dangerous chance that he creates there. One thing I'll also say, too, is that Quentin Musty going into this season was a player who did not want to be on the Sudbury Wolves, it seems. There were lots of reports that he was looking to be traded. And the first time I saw him was one of the first games he was playing back, and he was in Niagara, and he kind of was playing like he was a little frustrated. I don't know. I don't like to get into the psyche of a player from a bird's eye view. It's just not my thing, but you could kind of tell he was a little frustrated. And here, I think he really wanted the puck from this guy, because you could tell he slaps his stick on the ice. He is in open ice and could be a real scoring threat from here. He did win possession on this play, didn't get it back, and he goes, darn it, won the possession, got the puck out. They had some open space to play with, and they took a really low percentage chance there. And you're down 3, right? There's a chance you could get back into this game if you score there, and a perimeter shot from there leading to a face-off when you have a guy like Musty calling for it in open space, and you don't do it. It is a little frustrating. So again, defensive zone here stuff from Musty, right? He does the right thing and challenges Tyler Challenger here. Challenges Challenger. He gets the hit here and does everything right? Like he thinks he's going to gain possession here. He tries to kick it up to his stick. The problem is that he misses it. And then, the puck goes right through him. But he's not out of the play, right? Like, this is not where the issue is, right? So he's still with Challenger here. And Challenger doesn't really do much there. So Challenger just kind of puts the puck in the zone. Musty floats this way. But where does Challenger go? Empty room here, right? Like, you have an interaction here. You have these guys together. I don't know if you're hoping that Kieran Walton here can circle all the way back and do the coverage here. But Musty there's just no pressure whatsoever. And now Challenger has like the plains of Saskatchewan to play with here, and they just make no mistake, get a good scoring chance out of it. I don't know if this is just how they do it, but you have your man, you lose your guy, and just do not factor in, and you're already losing 7-4. Tough sequence there, and then he gets blasted. So he blocks the shot there, which is unpleasant, obviously, and then he gets up eventually. And then what happens? He goes and blocks another shot. So admirable, you're just eating the puck over and over and over again. He's a guy who's been hurt here and there over the course of the season. But that whole defensive zone sequence, both of those blocked shots kind of stemmed from a bit of soft defensive zone pressure there. He had the right idea for a while, then kind of just took his foot off the gas pedal, and Erie took advantage of it. Tyler Challenger took advantage of it. I mean, he ended up blocking shots and I guess physically paying for it a little bit. So if you value him blocking those shots as a thing, then that's great. I do too. Sure, you don't want those shots going in the net. And if they hit Quentin Musty, then that's great. That's the end of the game. This was definitely, by a wide margin, I think one of the most interesting games that we've done on this series. He was alternating between being really impressive, especially in the offensive zone, and being a really difficult player to imagine playing in the NHL and putting in a 200-foot effort that can be relied upon in major minutes for an NHL team, right? If you're a late first round draft selection, being a third line guy is a win, right? Like, that's entirely reasonable. And so I'm not trying to say that Musty is this enormously high potential player that if he's not an elite level player for the Sharks one day, he's a bust, if you want to use that word, which I don't like. But I always look at guys like Musty and I go, okay, you've got size, you've got skill, you're not slow. There's a lot going for you, and it helps you create offense at the junior level. But at the men's level, it's very different. And the issues that you don't get to play very much offense at the men's level unless you play real hard defense and play real physical defense. So when I see a big guy who is this offensive leaning guy who has skill and creativity and playmaking ability, at the end of the day, you kind of want to see a player where you can see them falling back into a third or fourth line role, right? Like, maybe the pace of their game isn't as high as it needs to be a top six contributor. Maybe they're just a step too slow to really push opposing defenses on their heels in the NHL, right? There could be a number of things, but at least they have the intensity level and the physicality and the natural intensity to play that defensive game, move the puck up the ice with control, and do all those things that need to be done. And I think in a lot of ways Musty brings that. I'm not trying to say that he's like not going to ever play in the NHL. I think that it's entirely possible, and I still really love the potential in his game. But the NHL is going to be an adjustment, I think, because in this game, maybe I just saw the worst game. Maybe I just saw Sudbury had an off night. But there were a lot of instances in this game where there was just not enough movement, just not enough energy. The feet were staying completely still. You know, I could forgive it if you're taking strides and maybe you're sick or something and you're just not generating the energy you need to. But if you're not moving your feet, it doesn't matter if you're having a good night or bad night. You're not going anywhere. But in this game, at the end of the day, it didn't really seem to matter because he scored a few points and on the score sheet, it looks awesome. But he also was on the ice for a few goals against. Didn't factor into a few of them, but a few of them he did factor in. And so for me, I think it's a really fascinating insight into how my brain works watching this kind of stuff, because for me, production at the NHL level is a reward for doing all the hard things really well. And in junior hockey, you can still kind of play that heavy offensive lean and sort of sit back defensively. And, you know, if you have the size and the pace to wait for things to happen, you know, you wait in supportive areas. And then when you have the puck, you're off and running and you can score. In my opinion, in the NHL, that's much, 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 much more difficult to do. And so when I'm watching young players, I'm always looking for the guys where I'm going, am I seeing the foundation of what I call the cycle of possession being there? The cycle of possession to me starts when you don't have the puck. Are you in good position defensively? When it comes time to maybe cause a turnover, are you getting involved? Are you causing those turnovers? Are you applying pressure? Are you forechecking well, right? Are you trying to pin the other team in the offensive zone? Are you doing what needs to be done to get the puck back? And then the rest is a bonus. The rest, you know, can you move the puck up the ice? Can you get set up in the offensive zone? Can you go to the net? Can you score goals? Can you set up a goal? All of those things stem from getting the puck back in the first place. So to me, a player who doesn't have those roots at the junior level, to me, it's just really hard to be as on board with them in the NHL as I think some other people might believe. And I think that people who see my rankings or other people's rankings and look at guys who are scoring a ton and aren't super high on the list, to me, a lot of that reason is because of stuff like this. You know, you see the highlights, you see the goals, you see the assists, you see all those things, but what you don't see is the opposing team's highlights where the player you love is on the ice and not backchecking or standing completely still or softly maybe putting their stick in what might be a passing lane, but is just not really factoring much at all. You know, those are the things that I think really are issues, right? And again, I'm not saying Musty is never going to play in the NHL. I don't think that's true at all. And I don't mean to be like a jerk. The point about this is to be constructive and go, I love this player. I think there's a lot in his game that I really love, and I see why he was a first-round pick. I had him in my top 15, and I still feel like he belongs in the upper class in terms of potential in that draft class. And I love the potential of a player. And a guy with his size, a guy with his quick thinking ability, a guy with his playmaking ability and his diverse scoring ability. We saw a lot of things in this game that were smart and complementary, but also he took possession and took control of the puck really well. He made some good off ice. He made some good reads off the puck. And there were good things in this game from him, for sure. I can't say he was bad. And I can see how he's a guy who scores a lot in the OHL. I absolutely can. But we're talking about the NHL here. and it's a different story. And so for me, it's like I would want to be encouraging him in a certain direction in terms of defensive zone play, using your size to your advantage more often, sticking with pressure a little bit more, trying to get him to be a little bit more combative and energetic defensively, because I think he has the size and the reach and the skill level to do it, right? So overall, I don't really know how else to put it, but I have to put Musty at the bottom of the power ranking here. He's going to be below Carter Yakimchuk and Beckett Seneca and Berkeley Catton and Artyom Levshinov. It hasn't happened very often in this series where I look at a player and go, wow, this was problematic in this game, right? There was stuff that's problematic, and the good stuff is the good stuff. It's great. I think the best moments out of Musty probably puts him ahead of guys like Catton and Seneca and maybe Levshinov, but it's kind of outweighed by the issues and how he paid for it in a few different situations throughout the game. None of these players, I think, have been bad in the games that I've seen, but I think Musty is the one who has had the most moments where you need to be constructive and the most moments where you need to go, things are going right for you in a lot of ways. If I'm the San Jose Sharks, you kind of want to go, well, here and here and here, we're going to need to work on some stuff. And that's okay. The overarching issue is Musty plays like a top 6 player, right? The skill, the offense, that's there. But is it enough to overcome the defensive stuff in the NHL? I'm not totally sold on that. And if it isn't, is he going to fall back into being a bottom 6 or 4th line guy in the NHL one day? Based on what I've seen, like, I don't think he plays a typical checking role in the NHL as he is. Maybe he learns that, and I hope he does, because I think he has all the potential in the world to be a good offensive power skill winger, you know, with a lot of rush offense ability, but also close quarters offense. I don't know how things will go, but this is just my read of him from this game, and it resonates with what I've seen of him both in person earlier this year and over the couple of years before this, seeing him here and there, where I've seen him be outstanding and really great, but also seen him, you want more out of him. You know he's capable of more, and you just don't get it, which is kind of been a thing that's followed him around for a few years. I've got to put him at the bottom, unfortunately, even though I do really like the player in general. Some good moments, some not so good moments, and the not so good moments to me are a little more troubling than the good stuff. So I think the Sharks still have a really bright future with this player. I think he's going to figure it out. And if he doesn't, it's okay, because in our next one, we're going to look at Igor Chernyshov, who has just recently started playing and is off to a really hot start. So if you like this video, definitely like it, subscribe to the channel. It really helps us out. If you disagree with anything I've said or anything, definitely leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you really liked it, you could consider subscribing to Scouching.ca, where you'll get access to our Discord server, as well as plenty of cool other perks like data tables for drafted and undrafted prospects and plenty of other cool stuff you can check out there. So that's going to be it for today, and we will see you in the next one, where we take a look at Igor Chernyshov.